Thousands of ghost hunters flock here each year, many claiming to see the shadows of people and hear unexplained voices.
In Mansfield, Ohio, the old Ohio State Reformatory is said to be haunted by the ghosts of prisoners who suffered terribly and want to ensnare victims to make them feel the same pain.
This place really does feel like home, but there is a very creepy and ominous energy inside this mansion.
Visitors hear strange noises, see apparitions, and experience deep fear. At the Hamill House Inn, employees have spotted a figure in room 4, where a young salesman disappeared years ago. Why is everyone getting away from Ohio in recent days? Let us explore why nobody wants to set foot in this haunted town ever again. The ghostly halls of Ohio's haunted inns. One notable haunted site is the Hamill House Inn, where employees have reported seeing an unexplained figure in room 4. Local lore suggests a young salesman disappeared in this room long ago, possibly meeting a tragic end. Another eerie location is the Stetson house, believed to be still roamed by its former resident, Louisa Stetson, dressed in old-fashioned clothing. Moreover, the former friend's boarding house, now a museum, is said to have the sounds of women bustling around in an area that no longer serves as a kitchen. Moving to Mansfield, Ohio, the atmosphere shifts from haunted to downright terrifying with the Ohio State Reformatory. This former prison, known for its daunting architecture, is reportedly haunted by the spirits of inmates who endured extreme suffering there. Visitors often describe hearing unsettling noises, seeing apparitions, and experiencing a general sense of unease. The surrounding woods are infamous for sightings of a creature known as Orange Eyes, a large, fearsome beast with glowing eyes. This creature is rumored to be something out of the ordinary, possibly linked to paranormal or extraterrestrial origins. Boston Mills, also known as Helltown, adds to Ohio's collection of haunted locations with a story of forced evacuations by the government, supposedly to create a national park. However, darker rumors persist about the reasons for evacuation, including environmental contamination and mutations in wildlife and humans. After the area was cleared, it is said that the abandoned buildings became sites for sinister activities. Ohio, the presence of ghosts is almost a common expectation, with multiple haunted sites including an abandoned asylum and several cemeteries. The former Athens Lunatic Asylum, now part of Ohio University's campus, is notorious for the tragic story of Margaret Schilling, a patient whose body was not discovered until long after her death, leaving a permanent stain on the attic floor. Wilson Hall, a dormitory rumored to be built over an old cemetery, has numerous reports of ghostly figures, unexplained noises, and sudden door slams. The town's haunted reputation is bolstered by stories connecting several local cemeteries in a pattern that some suggest forms a pentagram, with Wilson Hall at its center. Kirtland, Ohio brings a different twist with its tales of melon heads, eerie beings with disproportionately large bald heads said to roam the forests. These creatures are allegedly the result of horrific experiments by a deranged doctor on orphan children who eventually rebelled, eliminated the doctor, and set his house on fire before disappearing into the woods. In Cleveland, the Franklin Castle stands as Ohio's most haunted house, with a long history marked by family tragedies and frequent reports of paranormal activities. Despite its changing owners and renovations, the castle continues to be a focal point for those fascinated by ghostly encounters, with many visitors and residents claiming to have experienced strange phenomena within its walls. The stories of hardship and loss that permeate the castle's history offer a grim explanation for the persistent sense of darkness that many feel lingers in the grand old house. Put-in-Bay, Ohio might initially seem like a perfect spot for sunny vacations, but it also has a darker side that many visitors don't see at first. The Park Hotel, a building from the late 1800s, is one such place. It has a long history of hosting numerous guests, some of whom have reported unusual and unsettling experiences. These aren't just the normal noises of an old hotel. Guests often speak of hearing unexplained sounds and seeing figures believed to be caused by the ghost of a young woman who died tragically by falling from an upper floor. This spirit is said to make her presence known through odd noises, sudden changes in light, and appearances in the hallways during the night. The Dollar House, a large Victorian-style home, is another location with a troubling past. Its original owner, Valentine Dollar, allegedly engaged in illegal activities during the Prohibition era, such as smuggling alcohol and hiding it within the home's hidden compartments. Today, visitors to the house report hearing voices and footsteps that seem to come from nowhere, suggesting that the past actions of its owner have left a lasting presence, with these ghostly echoes continuing to inhabit the home. Another haunted site is the Crookshank Nest, a grand mansion on a cliff overlooking Lake Erie. Once owned by the banker J. Cook, this mansion is known for the sad story of Cook's daughter, who is believed to have died after falling from a window. Her spirit is reportedly seen on the grounds, often described as a brief glimpse of a figure dressed in white. Marietta, Ohio, another small town with a reputation for hauntings, the Hotel Lafayette stands out. Constructed in the late 1800s, this hotel has been the site of many strange events. Many people who have stayed at the hotel have reported various disturbances that suggest it is haunted. One of the most talked about spirits is a woman named Sarah, who is said to have taken her own life in the hotel. Her spirit is associated with obscure sounds like crying and footsteps, and some guests have even reported seeing apparitions in the hallways at night. Additionally, the spirit of a young girl is said to roam the hotel, often engaging in playful yet spooky activities like moving objects and flickering lights, adding a sense of unpredictability to the atmosphere. Inn, the nearly deserted town of Cheshire, Ohio, faces a real-world horror. This town used to be bustling with activity, but has been almost completely abandoned due to the dangerous pollution from a nearby power plant. This plant releases toxic substances into the air, covering the town with harmful residues and chemicals. This serious pollution has forced almost all residents to leave, creating a ghost town not because of hauntings, but due to the hazardous living conditions caused by environmental contamination. The few who remain live under the constant threat of health dangers, a stark and grim reality far removed from the spectral stories of other haunted locations in Ohio. This tale, like many ghost stories, combines tragedy with a lingering presence, appealing to those who are fascinated by the possibility of life after death. Another story is about a young railroad worker, known only as the brakeman, who supposedly died after being run over by a train when he fell asleep on the tracks following a night of heavy drinking. His story serves as a grim reminder of the dangers of alcohol, but garnished with a supernatural twist to keep it intriguing. But the ghostly tales of Moonville are just the beginning. A town's tragic tales. Then there's the Lavender Lady, believed to be the ghost of a woman named Mary Shea, who died near the tunnel. People claim to see a brief glimpse of an elderly woman and smell lavender just before she disappears. This story, likely enhanced over the years, offers just enough detail to provoke the senses and make the experience seem real to visitors. Baldy Keaton, also known as the Bully of Moonville, adds a touch of menace to the town's spectral lineup. Known for his brawling habits during his life, it's said he continues his aggression in death, throwing stones at visitors near the tunnel. This tale reflects a common theme in ghost stories, where the characters' life traits carry over into their afterlife, maintaining their essence even in ghost form. These stories not only serve as entertainment, but also keep the memory of Moonville alive in a way that historical records cannot. They provide a reason for people to visit and engage with the town, even if it's in hopes of a ghostly encounter rather than a historical lesson. However, one must consider whether these stories overshadow the real history of Moonville. They transform the town from a historical footnote into a place of ongoing intrigue, yet they might also distort the true narrative of the town's past. Furthermore, the continual retelling and reshaping of these tales emphasize certain aspects of human nature: our fascination with death, the unknown, and the unexplainable. They reflect our collective need to find or create stories that make the uncertainties of life and death more palatable. While these ghost stories might be seen as mere entertainment or tourist attractions, they also serve a deeper psychological purpose, providing comfort or thrill in the face of the unknown. Thus, Moonville's ghost stories, while seemingly simple tales of spectral appearances, are layered with complex human emotions and desires. They attract those who seek a brush with the beyond, offering a mixture of fear, curiosity, and the allure of a riddle to solve. In this way, Moonville continues to exist not just as a physical location, but as a place of narrative and imagination, where the past and the present merge in the stories told by those who pass through its eerie, silent landscapes. Intent on advancing his relationship, he decided to propose. Upon witnessing 3 bright flashes, he powered up his motorcycle and sped toward her house. Tragically, he lost control on the road and collided with a barbed wire fence. Since then, local people talk about seeing a faint light on that road, which they believe is the spirit of this phantom motorcyclist, still trying to reach his girlfriend's house to propose. Next, let's consider the disturbing events at Chillicothe, where several people went missing from 2014 to 2015. The troubling sequence began in spring 2014 with the disappearance of Charlotte Troe, a mother of 2 who faced challenges with addiction and was never found again. Not long after, her friend Tammy Lynch also disappeared. Her body was found by kayakers 3 weeks later. Though it seemed obvious that someone had harmed her, the official explanation of her death remained undecided. Following this, Wanda Lemons also vanished in November 2014 and has never been found. On Christmas Day 2014, Shasta Himmelrich went missing. Her body was later retrieved from the Coteau River. The authorities concluded she took her own life, but her family and others firmly believe she was eliminated. In May 2015, Tiffany Sayre remains were discovered in a creek, concealed by a sheet. Lastly, Timberly Clater was found dead near an abandoned building, having been shot. All these individuals were linked by their battles with addiction, and it seems this connection resulted in a disturbingly indifferent response from the authorities, who seemed to dismiss these deaths and disappearances as just another part of their troubled lifestyles. There's the story of the once majestic, now dilapidated Mudhouse Mansion. Built in the mid-19th century as a posh estate, it fell into disrepair over the years and was abandoned. As it decayed, it became the focus of many unsettling tales, including stories of a family either driven insane or eliminated within its walls. Some even said it was the original home of the Bloody Mary legend. Though the mansion was torn down in 2015, people still report seeing the figures of its past residents, thought to be trapped in an endless limbo. The unsettling events in Circleville, Ohio, began in 1976 and became known due to the series of anonymous, threatening letters sent to its residents. These letters exposed sensitive personal information. Mary Gillespie, a school bus driver, was accused in these letters of having an affair with the school superintendent. The letters didn't stop there. They included her husband Ron, who later died under circumstances after receiving a menacing phone call. He crashed his truck into a tree, and despite the suspicious context, his death was quickly ruled an accident amid rumors of a cover-up by the authorities. The letter sender escalated their threatening behavior by setting up a rigged sign along Mary's bus route, which could have shot her if triggered differently. Paul Freshour was arrested and convicted related to these letters, yet doubts about his actual involvement persist. Despite his release on parole, the true origin and purpose of the letters continue to haunt the community, with no clear resolution in sight. Constructed in 1941, this 30-foot tower was built by boys from the National Youth Administration using stone they found. Initially, it was meant to offer stunning views over the nearby country club. However, its secluded location soon turned it into a popular spot for unruly teenagers in the 1960s. The walls of the tower were covered in graffiti, and the surrounding ground was often cluttered with empty bottles of liquor and beer cans. It also became a place where young people threw roof shingles and glass bottles at cars driving along Peterson Boulevard below. This tower's sinister reputation deepened significantly in 1967 when a thunderstorm caused Peggy Harmison and her boyfriend Ronnie Stevens to seek shelter inside. Tragically, lightning struck the tower, killing Peggy instantly. Her body was found badly burned on the tower's 11th step. Ronnie survived the strike but was left deeply traumatized, found screaming and running around in a state of shock. Since that tragic evening, stories suggest that Peggy's spirit still haunts the tower. Now, let's dive into the unsettling disappearances in Chillicothe. Haunted jail, courthouse, and amusement park shifting focus to another unusual place. The Oakhurst Golf Club in Grove City, Ohio, is also known for its paranormal activity. Local stories tell of a bride who fell from a balcony there in the 1960s, whose ghost reportedly still roams the premises. This ghost, often seen wearing a white dress, is said to particularly haunt the club's kitchen upstairs near the ballroom. Workers there have reported hearing unexplained sounds like pots and pans banging together late at night, and finding items moved around by morning. August 1978 in Manura, the Kahn family reported a terrifying encounter with a massive creature near their home. Described as over 7 feet tall with shaggy dark fur and glowing red eyes, this creature not only frightened the family, but also returned several times, throwing rocks, staring menacingly through windows, and even killing their dog. These repeated encounters with such a fearsome creature left the community on edge, with other residents reporting similar experiences. Meanwhile, in Miamisburg, Montgomery County, a seemingly ordinary Arby's restaurant is reputed to be the site of various supernatural occurrences. Employees closing up alone have reported hearing laughter coming from the empty basement and experiencing their hair being pulled by an unseen force. Additionally, some have seen a ghostly figure staring into the oven during opening or closing hours. Not far from there, Hillgrove Cemetery adds to the town's eerie atmosphere. Visitors often speak of seeing a young girl weeping beside a grave who vanishes when approached. Nearby, the grave of a preacher's daughter, who is said to have taken her own life after being disowned by her family, is marked by a Bible that riddle appears damaged one moment and intact the next. East Liverpool is home to its own set of chilling tales, including haunted parks, a cemetery, and uniquely, a haunted phone booth. According to local lore, the ghost of a young man who died nearby haunts the street where he was eliminated. People in the area say that on certain nights, particularly Saturdays, his presence is strongly felt, reminding everyone of the eerie history that pervades these places. People walking past a certain phone booth might experience a peculiar event. The phone rings and, if answered, connects them to a somber, otherworldly voice that instructs them to look across the street. There they might see a headless young man who waves briefly before disappearing. This staged encounter feels like a ghostly performance designed for shock value, suggesting a blend of reality and supernatural theater. Shifting our focus to Sandusky, Ohio, we find several locations reputed for their haunting presences. The Sandusky County Historic Jail and Dungeon, constructed in the 1840s, no longer functions as a jail but has become a hotspot for ghost tours. Here, visitors and staff often share experiences of eerie occurrences. Notably, motion alarms at the nearby courthouse trigger without any visible cause in the early hours, around 2 or 3 a.m. Even though security cameras frequently show nothing, there are exceptional nights when a shadowy figure in a hat is seen sitting quietly outside the courthouse. Similarly, the fire alarms are known to activate on their own, suggesting that the spirits inhabiting this place have a flair for loud and sudden noises. The atmosphere is further charged with unexplained voices and footsteps that resound in empty spaces. Meanwhile, Cedar Point Amusement Park in Ohio juxtaposes its thrilling rides with a darker historical narrative. Established in 1870, the park is not only famous for its attractions, but also for its history of accidents. One of the most talked about spots within the park was the Frontier Town Carousel. Local stories claim that the carousel is haunted by the ghost of a woman who was eliminated by her husband after he discovered her affair. It's said that her spirit makes an appearance at midnight on every full moon, riding one of the wooden horses carved by her husband, symbolizing her tragic end and eternal restlessness. The city of Worcester adds to Ohio's collection of haunted locales with its own Pizza Hut, notorious among the local dining spots for unusual occurrences. The restaurant is part of a complex built on what was once an insane asylum, perhaps explaining the frequent paranormal reports. The staff at Pizza Hut have reported various ghostly incidents, including sightings of figures that merge into the walls and mists that form suddenly and disappear just as quickly. The Anchorage mansion stands out for its haunting reputation. Built in the 1800s for Eliza Putnam by her husband Douglas, the mansion became her perpetual home after her early death. Over the years, many have claimed to see Eliza's spirit in the mansion, observing her from windows or encountering her in the corridors. The mansion later served as a nursing home, where even more individuals reported seeing her ghost. Alongside these ghostly sightings, there are talks of hidden tunnels beneath the mansion, which some believe were part of the Underground Railroad, though their true purpose remains unconfirmed. In an inn where TVs turn on and off by themselves and doors open without anyone touching them, it's common for guests to wake up feeling cold hands on them, only to find no one there. This experience, although frightening, is preferred by many over the presence of an actual intruder. Moving over to Fredericksburg in Washington County, there is a factory called Robin Industries that does custom work with rubber and plastic. This place used to be Fredericksburg Pottery, known for its dark history. It is said to be home to several spirits due to past tragedies, including 2 severe fires and a deadly train crash that eliminated 12 people. Workers at this factory often report feeling unusually cold drafts, especially strange since they occur near machines that should be hot. These drafts are not ordinary. They are also linked with sightings of a man believed to have caused the train crash. He is said to appear in various parts of the factory. There are also sightings of an older man, thought to be the former mayor who was present during the crash, and an elderly woman who disrupts machinery and opens doors. On one occasion, an employee encountered a foul smell followed by a strong wind that almost knocked her down the stairs. A peculiar and frightening event that one would not usually blame on poor dietary choices. Next, we uncover more eerie stories from haunted places. Ghosts in the dreams of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Dayton, Ohio. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is known not just for its military importance, but also for its haunted locations. It is said to be frequented by the ghost of a young Vietnamese boy seen near one of the helicopters, and a German Woolowatu fighter pilot who still haunts his plane. These stories have gained the base a reputation for paranormal activity and have even led to it being featured on ghost hunting TV shows. 2 locations in Ashland County's Loudonville are known for their haunted histories: Mohican State Park and Landol's Mohican Castle. The park, formerly an asylum site, and the castle, built on a site with a contentious history involving fires linked to an old dispute, attract those interested in the paranormal. These locations are known for sightings of Civil War soldiers and unexplained lights, challenging skeptics to reconsider the reality of these occurrences. These haunted spots continue to intrigue and draw visitors, serving as a testament to the area's storied past and the enduring tales of encounters with the unexplained. Walter affectionately called his collection of old airplanes from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s a sanctuary rather than a graveyard, although it essentially served as the latter. His dedication to preserving these aircraft came from his job at a Cleveland scrapyard where he saw thousands of warplane engines being discarded. His son, Wally Soplata, mentioned in a 2007 issue of Air and Space magazine that Walter used to let people visit and see these planes, But in later years, he stopped allowing public access. He passed away in 2010, and now it's uncertain what will happen to these aircraft. Goggle Lake Amusement Park, once celebrated as a major entertainment destination with its iconic Big Dipper roller coaster, now sits abandoned. When it first opened in 1925, it quickly became a landmark. However, it wasn't immune to disasters. A tornado in 1942 and a severe fire in 1952 caused extensive damage, costing thousands of dollars and destroying key parts of the park. Although there were attempts to revitalize it, the park eventually closed in 2007 and has been left to decay, with nature reclaiming the structures and rides. The Cincinnati subway story is a tale of an ambitious project that never reached its potential. The city planned to build a subway system in 1912, hoping to replace its outdated canals with something modern. The people of Cincinnati supported the idea overwhelmingly, but actual construction faced many delays and only a small part was ever completed. Since then, many plans to revive or repurpose the subway tunnels have come and gone, but none have succeeded. The old subway tunnels still exist, hidden and unused, and it's illegal and dangerous to try to explore them. Chippewa Lake Park, once a bustling amusement park from 1878 to 1978, is now just a collection of decaying rides and buildings. After it closed, no one took care of it, and it has been left to deteriorate for over 4 decades. The park, with its rusting Ferris wheel and crumbling structures, stands as a somber reminder of its past. In 2008, the park served as a filming location for a horror movie, which only adds to its eerie atmosphere. Cases Run Colored School, located in southeastern Ohio, marks a significant part of history. From the late 1800s to the early 1900s, African American children received their education at this school. During racial segregation, this school was a vital place for learning and growth, setting the stage for many students to achieve remarkable things, including some who went on to become leaders and university presidents. The establishment of this school highlights its critical role in nurturing young talents and shaping future leaders. It was not just a building but a community center that helped transform many lives through education. In 2007, the importance of Cases Run Colored School was officially recognized with a historical marker. This was to honor the place and its contribution to education and the community. Despite this recognition, the actual structures of the school have not been preserved well. Today they are in poor condition, unsafe to enter, with boarded-up windows and surrounded by thick, untended vegetation that hides them from view. The condition of Cases Run Colored School is getting worse, which is really sad. It used to be a lively place full of young students ready to learn. Now it's been left alone, falling apart and turning into just a memory of an important historical spot. The buildings are weak and old, barely holding together. Weeds and plants are growing all over, showing that no one has been taking care of this important place. This neglect points to a bigger problem, forgetting the value of sites that were key in the education of African Americans. Preserving Cases Run Colored School is essential not just for historical interest, but to honor the legacy of those who passed through its doors. It can serve as a vivid educational tool and a symbol of the struggles and achievements in the journey toward educational equality in America. Restoration efforts could re-involve the community and rekindle interest in the rich history of the school and its impact on past and future generations. The story of Cases Run Colored School offers lessons about resilience and the transformative power of education in the face of adversity. It reminds us of the importance of maintaining our historical sites to educate and inspire future generations about the challenges and achievements of those who came before them. As it stands now, Cases Run Colored School might seem forgotten to some, but it still holds significant educational and inspirational potential. It embodies the struggles faced by African American students and the victories they achieved in their right to education. This site deserves attention and care, so it can continue to teach us about our past and inspire future achievements. It's a call to remember and protect the legacies that have shaped the educational landscapes, and to ensure that the stories of resilience and determination are not lost to time. N. Almahead, a significant player in the real estate market, bought an old observatory with plans to turn it into a high-end home. However, his ambitions were derailed in 2007 when he was found guilty of fraud and sent to prison. The observatory is still located on Taylor Road, and it is unsafe to go near it due to its deteriorating condition. The Peters Cartridge Company, founded in 1887 by Gershom Moore Peters in Kings Mills, Ohio, quickly grew into an essential part of the American ammunition industry. Its roots can be traced back to the King Powder Company, started by Ahimaaz King, and later expanded by Gershom Peters, who was King's son-in-law. The company initially shared facilities with the King Powder Company on the west bank of the Little Miami River, but due to space needs, it soon moved to its own site across the river. The location was chosen for its abundance of willow trees, used to make charcoal for gunpowder. Peters was innovative, having invented a power-driven machine for loading shotgun shells, which greatly increased production efficiency. By 1889, the factory was producing 4,000 metallic cartridges per hour. Despite its success, the company's history includes several tragic events. A major explosion in 1890 destroyed much of the facility, eliminating 12 people, and led to a major rebuilding effort. Such explosions were unfortunately common in ammunition manufacturing and occurred several times throughout the company's history. During both World Wars, the Peters Cartridge Company played a crucial role in supplying ammunition to the Allied forces. At its height, the company employed thousands of workers and had a significant impact on the local community, contributing to the development of housing and infrastructure for its employees. After World War II, the company changed hands and purposes several times. It was sold to Remington Arms in 1934, which continued the operation until 1944. After the war, the site was used by Columbia Records to make vinyl records and later by Seagram as a distillery storage facility. However, these operations eventually ceased and the site fell into disrepair. The environmental legacy of the site's industrial past led to significant contamination issues, resulting in its designation as a Superfund site by the U.S. Environmental Protection Search Service. Cleanup began in 2015, costing about $5 million and involving the removal of hazardous substances like lead, copper, and mercury. Recently, the site has been revived with the opening of Cartridge Brewing in 2020, part of a broader redevelopment effort that includes housing and a community space. This new development respects the location's historical significance while providing a modern use. The brewery, with its military-themed beer names and decor reminiscent of its ammunition-producing past, serves as a nod to the site's history. Helltown, once known as Boston Village, became infamous after the National Park Service bought it in 1974 to create a new national park, which led to the displacement of its residents. The project stalled, and the area became neglected, with properties boarded up and abandoned. Issues such as toxic waste causing illness to rangers, as well as stories of strange occurrences and figures, add to the area's eerie reputation, making it a place many avoid. The Lima Tuberculosis Hospital, established in 1911 to combat tuberculosis, once a leading cause of death in America, has been closed since 1973. It remains standing, partly because of its remote location and the presence of hazardous materials, which complicate demolition plans. Rumors that the building is haunted peak during Halloween, attracting trespassers, which has led to increased police patrols to prevent unauthorized visits. In 1985, a huge disaster happened in Colombia when the Nevado del Ruiz volcano erupted. This eruption caused what is known as a lahar, a deadly mixture of water, mud, and debris that moves very quickly. The town of Armero was right in the path of this mud flow. There was no warning and the townspeople were unprepared. Very soon, Armero was covered by the mud. Almost everything was destroyed and buried under the mud. More than 25,000 people died in this disaster, making it one of the worst volcanic disasters in the 20th century. The impact was devastating. Many families lost their loved ones, and whole areas where people lived were wiped out. The loss was immense, and the sadness was felt across the country. The disaster showed how important it is to watch volcanoes closely and to have good plans for emergencies. Before the volcano erupted, there were signs that it was becoming more active. But this information did not reach the people who were in danger. The tragedy in Armero made it clear that this was a big mistake. After what happened, Colombia and other countries with volcanoes started to improve how they watch over volcanoes. They worked on making sure that scientists, the government, and people living near volcanoes could talk to each other better. They also set up systems to warn people quickly if a similar disaster might happen again. These efforts are aimed at making sure that no place suffers the way Armero did. Now, many places with volcanoes are better prepared. They have plans in place to protect people from the kind of powerful natural events that can cause so much harm. Dhanushkodi in India was a vibrant port town until 1964, when it was struck by a powerful cyclone that destroyed much of the town and resulted in the loss of 1,700 lives. The ruins of the town, including a railway station and a church, now stand as somber reminders of the disaster, leaving visitors with a profound sense of the destructive power of natural disasters and the importance of preparedness. Now we explore strange happenings and ghostly encounters. A lost town buried by nature's fury. High up in the mountains of Peru, the small town of Yungay was once known for its breathtaking landscapes, perfect for taking photos, and its popularity for winter sports activities. It attracted many people who wanted to enjoy its lovely environment and slow-paced life. However, in 1970, this peaceful town faced a devastating event. On a day in May, a powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 7.9 hit the area near Yungay. The earthquake was so strong that it broke off a huge mass of ice and rock from the nearby Mount Huascaran, which is the tallest mountain in Peru. This massive avalanche came down the mountain incredibly fast, sweeping away everything in its path. The avalanche hit Yungay with such force that the town was completely buried under ice, mud, and rocks. It was a huge disaster, and sadly, more than 20,000 people died. This made it one of the deadliest avalanches ever recorded. Where Yungay once stood, there is now a quiet memorial. The area has been left almost as it was found right after the avalanche, as a way to remember the tragic event. Plants and grass have started to grow over the land, slowly covering the marks of the disaster. There are a few signs and markers that explain what happened, helping visitors understand the huge impact of the avalanche. Not far from this memorial, people built a new town also called Yungay. This new town shows the strength and spirit of the people who survived the disaster. They were determined to rebuild their lives and community despite the huge loss they experienced. This new Yungay is full of life and very different from the quiet memorial site. The disaster deeply affected the culture and identity of the area. It is a reminder of how powerful nature can be and how fragile human settlements are when facing such powerful natural forces. The way the community came together to rebuild and remember the lost lives is inspiring. They have shown great courage and unity. Since the disaster, the people have worked to improve how they prepare for and respond to emergencies. They have learned from the tragedy and have put better safety measures and emergency plans in place. This is to try to prevent such a terrible event from happening again. The village of Dollersheim in Austria appears to be a quiet place that has been around since 1143. Walking through Dollersheim, you might feel the deep history in every building and street corner. Yet, this calm appearance hides a troubled past. During the Second World War, the peacefulness of the village was broken when the Nazi regime took over, turning the area into a military training site and forcing the people who lived there to leave. After the war ended, Dollersheim never returned to its lively ways and has remained mostly empty. Nowadays, it attracts visitors who are interested in its history and want to see what remains of its past. Kadachan, a ghost town in the cold, far eastern part of Russia, stands as a powerful reminder of dramatic changes. Built during the challenging times of World War II, the town was originally created to house prisoners forced to work in its coal mines. These mines were crucial during the war, supporting not just the military but also the town's existence. Over the years, as the community around the mines grew, people managed to carve out a living in this harsh environment, enduring the severe weather and isolation. The coal mining operations in Catachan were vital for many decades, supporting the livelihood of the town's residents. Families settled, forming a community bound by shared experiences and the struggles of daily life in such a tough place. Despite the difficulties, the residents built a life together, finding ways to thrive. However, the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 1990s brought economic hardship. The support systems that had kept towns like Catachan running were no longer in place. The mines, once bustling centers of activity, became unprofitable and eventually had to shut down. This loss struck at the heart of the community, as mining was not just a job for the people, but the core of the town's economy and identity. 1996, the situation worsened when a massive explosion devastated Catachan, destroying crucial infrastructure. This disaster made living in the town untenable, leading to a gradual exodus. By 2010, everyone had left, abandoning their homes and the life they had known. Catachan became a ghost town with empty buildings and quiet streets where a lively community once thrived. Today, Catachan is a silent testament to its complex past. The empty buildings and deserted streets tell a story of a once thriving town that faced numerous challenges. The remains of the town are a clear sign of the economic and social upheavals that have affected such remote areas in Russia. Catachan's deserted state also highlights the impact of larger political and economic changes on small, isolated communities. Visitors to Catachan today would find a landscape of abandonment. The stark emptiness serves as a reminder of the transient nature of human settlements and how quickly a community can disappear when its economic foundation collapses. The town's decline from a bustling community to a ghost town illustrates the harsh realities faced by many such towns across Russia, where economic changes have left profound impacts. Argentina, the story of Villa Epicuén, serves as a powerful example of how unpredictable nature can be. Villa Epicuén was once a lively lakeside resort, famous for its water that was as salty as the Dead Sea, attracting lots of tourists and families. But in the 1980s, the lake began to rise and slowly started to flood the town until it completely covered it with water. Many years later, the water went down, revealing the remains of Villa Epicuén, which now looks like a ghost town, intriguing visitors with its unique and desolate appearance. Plymouth in Montserrat is another place that shows how powerful and destructive nature can be. It was once a busy capital city, full of people and activity. But in 1995, the Soufriere Hills volcano erupted, sending ash and lava through the city and forcing everyone to leave. A later eruption in 1997 made it clear that returning was impossible. Now, Plymouth is mostly cut off, with parts of the city visible through layers of ash, a silent witness to the power of the volcano. The story of Tawarga in Libya is a sad example of how war can change everything. Before the Libyan civil war in 2011, about 40,000 people lived in Tawarga, going about their daily lives. But the war turned their town into a ghost town, forcing everyone to leave their homes. They moved to a nearby town where they lived in tents, a drastic change from their previous lives. Despite these harsh conditions, the people of Tawarga have kept their community spirit alive, showing remarkable resilience in the face of such significant changes. The Bisman building, constructed in 1886, holds a notably eerie atmosphere. It gained recognition from its appearance in the movie The Shawshank Redemption as the Brewer Hotel, where characters Brooks and Red stayed after leaving prison. Despite its movie fame, the building is famous for being haunted, with many visitors experiencing a strong sense of sadness and fear, especially noticeable on the third floor. People often hear sounds that have no clear source, like footsteps and whispers, and see fleeting shadows and dark figures. The ghosts of a young girl named Ruthie, her aunt, and a deceased worker are believed to linger in the building. The Bisman building, with its striking and somewhat ominous presence, has stood for over a century, witnessing generations of history and change. Over the years, it has become more than just a structure. It has transformed into a repository of local lore and ghost stories. Visitors and employees frequently report unusual occurrences that cannot be easily explained. The third floor, in particular, is a hotspot for these eerie experiences, where the air often feels heavy with an inexplicable gloom. The legend of Ruthie and her aunt is a focal point of the haunting tales. Ruthie, a young girl whose life was cut short under tragic circumstances, is said to roam the halls with her aunt, who remains by her side even in the afterlife. The worker, another spirit seen in the building, supposedly continues his laborious tasks, unaware or unwilling to move on from his earthly toils. These stories of lingering spirits contribute to the building's spooky reputation. Despite the unsettling experiences reported, the Bisman building attracts numerous visitors eager to explore its haunted halls. Some seek to experience the thrill of a possible ghostly encounter, while others hope to connect with the past through the stories embedded in the building's walls. For many, the building offers a direct link to a bygone era, making it a valuable piece of cultural heritage. The encounters with the unknown at the Bisman building challenge the visitors' perceptions, blurring the lines between reality and the supernatural. Whether one is a believer in ghosts or a skeptic, the experiences reported have a profound impact, often leaving visitors with more questions than answers. The tales of Ruthwell, her aunt, and the worker enrich the narrative of the Bisman building, making it a significant site for those interested in paranormal phenomena or historical architecture. Exploring the building is like stepping into a different world, where the past lingers palpably in the air, inviting curiosity and intrigue. Each creak and whisper in the corridors adds to the building's mystique, making it an essential destination for anyone drawn to historical or haunted locations. The building not only serves as a physical reminder of the past, but also as a space where stories of loss, tragedy, and the unexplained continue to thrive. It stands as a testament to the enduring human fascination with the supernatural and the unknown. The Staley Road and its mill have their own horror story. Built in the early 1800s by the Staley brothers, the mill was a successful business before it became the scene of a rumored violent rampage by Old Man Staley. Now, the road past the mill is a local challenge for teenagers to prove their courage by facing the supposed ghost of Staley and the spooky occurrences reported there. The Golden Lamb, located in Lebanon, Ohio, stands as the state's oldest inn, having opened its doors in 1803. Over the years, it has served as a temporary home for many important figures, including presidents and famous authors. However, alongside its rich history of hospitality, the inn is also known for the presence of ghosts, adding a chilling layer to its storied existence. Among these ghostly figures is a young girl, thought to be either Sarah Stubbs or Eliza Clay. Sarah Stubbs lived in the inn during her childhood while her uncle managed the property. Despite her apparently peaceful life, guests today report seeing her figure or feeling a sudden coolness in her former room, now named after her. Eliza Clay, daughter of the well-known 19th century politician Henry Clay, who often visited the inn, is the other young girl rumored to haunt the premises. The reason behind her supposed presence remains unclear, but her story contributes to the inn's intriguing past. Another notable ghost said to roam the halls is Charles R. Sherman, a former justice of the Ohio Supreme Court, who passed away at the inn in 1829. His death had a profound negative impact on his family's financial situation, particularly affecting his son, William Tecumseh Sherman, who would rise to fame as a Civil War general. Today, visitors and staff at the inn sometimes feel a profound sadness or hear soft, sorrowful sounds in the areas Charles frequented. The Golden Lamb not only offers a glimpse into American history through its architecture and the artifacts displayed within its rooms, but it also invites those who are curious about these ghost stories. Each corner of the inn, from its creaking floorboards to its antique-filled rooms, seems to hold a connection to the past, blurring the lines between the historical and the otherworldly. Regular tours and special events at the inn often focus on these haunting tales, attracting visitors interested in both the history and the hauntings. The inn's ability to maintain its historical integrity while embracing the tales of its resident ghosts makes it a unique destination for visitors looking for more than just a place to stay. The Ridges Asylum, opened in 1874 and originally known as Athens Lunatic Asylum, was a place intended to help people with mental health issues. At first, this Ohio-based institution aimed to treat patients kindly and help them get better through a structured day of work, learning, and rest. This was a new and kind way to help people with mental health problems back then. However, as time went by, the good intentions faded. By the 1900s, the situation inside the asylum worsened. Although it was built for about 500 people, it ended up holding nearly 2,000 by the 1950s. This extreme number of patients overwhelmed the staff and resources, leading to a drop in care quality. Many patients didn't get the attention or treatment they needed, and there were stories about them being treated badly or neglected. The story of Margaret Schilling is one of the saddest from the asylum. She was a patient there in the late 1970s. In December 1978, Margaret went missing within the asylum's walls. For weeks, no one knew where she was. Her body was finally found in January 1979 in a closed-off area that used to be part of the tuberculosis treatment ward. She probably died from not having enough warmth and food after accidentally being locked in. The outline of her body left a permanent mark on the concrete floor where she was found. Despite many attempts to clean it, this mark is still there and adds to the chilling atmosphere of the place. This mark and Margaret's unfortunate end are well known, and many believe that she and other former patients still haunt the asylum. Nowadays, the Ridges isn't used as an asylum. It closed in 1993. Ohio University now uses some of its buildings for classes, offices, and spaces for artists. But many parts of the Ridges are still empty and untouched, reminding people of its past. Many who are interested in ghost stories and old haunted buildings visit the Ridges. They are drawn by the spooky stories, strange sounds, and sightings, including the well-known mark left by Margaret. Bobby Mackey's Music World, originally a slaughterhouse, is now a nightclub known for its terrifying paranormal reports. The building is rumored to be so filled with dark energy that it is considered a portal to darker realms. Incidents of paranormal activity and violent encounters with spirits are frequently reported by visitors. What if the spirits of Ridges Asylum and Bobby Mackey's Music World are reaching out to warn us? Like, comment, and subscribe to share your thoughts and experiences with the paranormal.